So once you've brought up the training manual, I'm not going to be going page by page. I'm going to select certain sections to go over in this video. And we're going to get started on page 7 with the policies and guidelines and kind of walk through all of those. When you start on your very first Sunday, I ask all of my volunteers to be prepared, read through the curriculum. You don't have to know it by heart, but definitely I would like you to be very familiar with it and be able to facilitate that with all of the kids. The other thing that is so important is for you to come 15 minutes prior to the service time. This is so that you'll be able to greet the parents and receive the kids. And also, if you are serving at third service, the second service volunteers need to be able to leave to go to service or to go home for the day. So it's real important that you're on time, which is 15 minutes prior to the service times. We also don't want you leaving before the next set of teachers arrive so that there aren't any kids that are left alone in the classroom. We provide name tags for every volunteer, and we ask that you please wear them. On the back of the name tags, it will have the service directors and myself's phone number on them. So if you need us anytime during service while you're serving, you can go ahead and shoot us a text and get a hold of us that way. The next item is knowing the emergency exits. There is a map next to the doorway, and I ask that you take a moment and just know how to guide the kids out of the room safely in case something arises and you need to exit the building. And then the last thing that I want to encourage you is to attend a worship service. It is really important that not only are you pouring into the kids, but that you're also getting poured into and attending service. So make sure that you are attending one of the other services that you're not currently serving at. At the top of page 8, we have our 2-person per classroom rule. We require that 2 people over the age of 18 are in every classroom during the LIFEkids ministry. There may be a third person that is in the class as well. It can be a junior higher or high schooler, but our minimum requirement for any class is 2 people over the age of 18. And then as far as our schedule goes, during our first service, we do not have any LIFEkids ministry that is going on, but we do have rooms that are open and available for families to sit in there and watch the service from a TV. For second and third service, we offer LIFEkids for children ages 0 or the nursery all the way through 6th grade. And then lastly, I just want to touch base on our sick child policy. We really do not want to have any children that have ran a fever or thrown up in the last 24 hours in any of our classrooms. So if you find that out, you can contact any of the service coordinators or myself, and we can contact the parents to talk to them about that. We just really want to try and keep a germ-free environment as much as possible when we are having the kids in the classrooms each day. Page 9 is talking about our security system and our name tags for our children. So first off, I want to talk about just how the parents are going to get their child checked into children's ministry. Out on our patio, we have self-serve computers. They can punch in their phone number, and then they can check in each of their children for 1 or 2 services, depending on what all they have going on that Sunday. The computers are going to go ahead and print those stickers out, and at the very end there's also going to be a security pickup sticker that the parent is going to accept. Each of the kids should have a name tag either on the front side of them or on the back side of them, and when the parents drop them off for class, we ask for you to do your best to make sure that they have a sticker on them. If for some reason a kid has gotten into a classroom and doesn't have a sticker, you can let one of the service coordinators know, and we can go ahead and get them checked into class. The important thing is, if that happens, we want to make sure that we let that parent know during pickup that they're going to need to make sure to get one of those stickers for their kids before going to class the next time. About 15 or 20 minutes into service, we will be bringing you a room roster that's going to have a list of all of the kids' names, the parents' names, their security sticker code is going to be on there, and then there's going to be a box that says in and a box that says out. We ask each one of you to go ahead and take attendance once you've received that, and make sure that all of the kids that are on the roster are in the classroom. Now, there's a couple of scenarios that might arise that you may have some questions with. One, you have taken roll and you have an extra child in your class that isn't on the list. All you need to do in that case is just write their name down and add them to the list. It's simply because that report was ran before the child was checked into the system. So that really isn't a big deal. The other option that can happen is that you've taken roll and there's a child that is on your room roster list that is not in the classroom. And in that case, you're going to want to call one of the service coordinators or myself and let us know. We don't ever want to assume that a child just changed his mind and didn't go to class. One of us will go ahead and text the parent and confirm that the child is with them. We want to make sure that each child is accounted for in the class. At the end of service, when it's time for the parents to pick up, I ask for one of the volunteers to work the front door, greeting the parents, while the other one is still with all of the kids. The parents are going to come and show you their portion of the security sticker pickup that has a code that will match what's on the room roster. So we just ask that you make sure that those two codes match. Pull off the name tag of the child and put it on the 11 by 17 sheet that is right by the door there. We want to save their name tag, but the pickup sticker that the parent has, please let them keep that. They may need it to pick up more than one child in the room. On a rare occasion, if there is a parent that comes and has lost their pickup sticker, we have to have them fill out a form called Release of Liability form. This requires a driver's license, and it does take a few minutes. So if you want to go ahead and notify one of the service coordinators or myself, we can help them while you continue to check out the kids for that particular service. Once all the kids have been picked up and on your room roster, all of the kids have been marked off for the in column and the out column, you are good to go ahead and head off to service or home for the day. One last point I wanted to make is that children in 7th grade or older are allowed to pick up their siblings from LIFEkids. So if you have a 4th grader or a 5th grader that is there trying to pick up their younger siblings, say in kindergarten or 1st grade, we don't allow for that. They must be already out of the LIFEkids ministry in order to pick up their kids, and they do still need to have their pickup sticker. On page 11, we're going to jump to the section that says condition and usage of the rooms. And it's pretty basic and common sense here, but we're asking that you leave the room in the exact same condition that it was when you started out, so that the next service afterwards will be able to start their class fresh and ready to go. We also have a couple of simple rules. If you want to bring some treats for the kids, that is completely fine, but we do ask for you to wait to pass those out till the end of the church service. This way the parents are able to say whether they want their child to have a cupcake early in the morning or not, and to make sure that we're not breaking any allergies or any issues like that. Any food that you bring in with the kids, I ask you to please be sensitive about peanuts. We really do try to make sure that the classrooms do not have anything that offers peanuts because of the allergies that are in there. Also, we try to avoid glitter at all possible, and also anything that has to do with red dye. Once in a great while we may utilize those items, but we do really try to steer clear from those types of things. A few of our age groups go out and utilize the playground. So if you're serving in one of those classrooms, there should be a schedule of what time the kids can go out to play on the playground. So you'll want to make a note of that when you're in the classroom. And then also we ask that that both volunteers are out on the playground together. Just like the 2-person rule in the classroom, we want to carry that out to the playground as well. We want to make sure that on the tricycles, it is 1 rider per tricycle. And as far as the slide and the ladder, we encourage a volunteer to be next to the ladder just to have an extra hand for the kids that are navigating that. And as far as the slide goes, we just ask that a volunteer is near the ladder to help the kids as they're climbing up, and we want all of the kids to slide down the slide but not climb up the slide. So that's about it for all of the different safety rules that we want to utilize in the classroom and outside of the classroom. On pages 12 and 13, it's going to talk a little bit about discipline and then a little bit about first aid and any ouches that may happen in a classroom. So as far as discipline goes in our classrooms, I ask that the volunteers first just talk to the kids. You can verbally say to them, please don't do that, or that's being distracting. If the child continues to do those things, I suggest that you take that one child kind of aside and talk to them again, kind of give them a warning that that particular behavior is not okay and that they need to stop doing that. If it gets to a point where a child just isn't following instructions and is distracting or disruptive in the classroom, feel free to call either of the service coordinators or myself. We can come into the classroom and talk to the children as well that are having those discipline issues. And then lastly, if it continues and gets to a point where we need to get a parent involved, at that point I will be happy to text a parent and have a conversation about the problems that we are having with that particular child. So we want to make sure that you feel supported and not frustrated throughout that whole section. The next part is first aid. Each one of the classrooms is going to have a small first aid kit, generally in one of the cupboards. Feel free to open up the cupboards and get yourself familiar with the surroundings so that you know where the things are located in that particular classroom. In the kit will be gloves, there's going to be Band-Aids, usually there's some cotton balls. It's very basic. For any of those items, we're not allowed to medicate at all, so we can't put on ointment or anything like that. We can utilize soap and water and put Band-Aids on. For the kids that need this type of care, we have an ouch report, and this can be for a variety of uses. It can be for small cuts, it can be for head bumps, it might even be for other things like biting or different issues that can arise in the classroom. If our kids have any small injury like that, we want to make sure that the form gets filled out and a copy is sent home with the parent, and also a copy is left for me to have record of it as well. That way everyone is informed. When you're looking at that ouch report, you will notice that there's 2 spots for children's names, and that's because if 2 kids bump heads together, we want to make sure that both parents are notified of that. So that's why there is 2 spots there. If you need help filling out that form at any time, please call one of the service coordinators or myself. We will be happy to help you fill that out and make sure that copies are made to be sent home with the parents. On page 16 is our emergency classroom plan. There are 3 different kinds of emergencies. The first one is a people-caused situation. So this would be somebody comes on campus, threatens the safety of our children, and we have to go on lockdown. For that, there are walkie-talkies in each of the classrooms, and you would hear an announcement to go on lockdown. At that point, you would want to go ahead and make sure all of the classroom doors are locked and that any of the windows blinds are pulled down and covered. On the back of the doors, we have a small window slot, and we actually have a piece of paper that you can click over with some magnets to cover that small window as well. Soon as those items are all in place, we encourage you to gather all the kids up and try and stay away from the doors and windows to the best that you can. A lot of times that would be kind of towards the bathroom areas that's in the middle of the classrooms. We ask for you to keep it completely locked down like that until somebody that is on staff unlocks the doors and tells you that it is all clear. So that's our lockdown. The next type of emergency is a natural disaster, like a fire or an earthquake or those types of items. For those types of items, we are going to want to evacuate the kids when it is safe. So if it's an earthquake, it would be after the earthquake is over. If it's during a fire, it's probably going to be pretty immediate. You're going to want to grab your clipboard that has the room roster with all of the kids on it and follow the emergency evacuation plan of how to get out and go to the parking lots. If you're in the elementary side classrooms, you're going to want to go to the small front parking lot. If you're on the pre-K side, you will be exiting out the back towards the playground and out to the upper parking lot. Once you have gotten to the upper parking lot, you want to make sure and account for every single child that is on your room roster and make sure that all of the kids have been evacuated safely. If you have a child that is on your roster but isn't with you, you need to make sure that either somebody from the fire department or someone on staff here at the church is notified so that we can make sure that we find that child and get them safely out of the building. And then lastly, if we have a major medical emergency, I'm not talking about a small boo-boo, a little cut. This is a big emergency. A child isn't breathing or has fallen unconscious, those types of things. For those instances that happen, first off, I want to make sure that you are aware you have the ability to call 911 immediately. You do not have to wait for me or one of the service coordinators to come to act and call 911. We want you to be able to feel free to do that. Also, if that person or child is required to have CPR. All of the staff members are CPR certified, and so you can grab any one of us to be able to aid you in that. If you are certified in CPR and feel comfortable to go ahead and administer that, feel free to begin that immediately with them. Once we have got the situation under control where 911 has been notified and the service coordinators or myself have been notified, we will make sure to get in contact with the parent, and then when everything settles down, we will want to fill out an ouch report, but that is in the very bottom list of the priorities. First, we want to make sure that they're getting all of the medical attention that they need and that their parents are notified as well with all of that. All of those instructions are on the back of every single one of the clipboards with the room rosters as well, so you are able to reference those points if at any point you are uncertain about what to do or how to handle the situation. On the bottom of page 16 through 19, there's additional information that is important for you to read on your own. I'm not going to go through it on the video, but please take a few moments, familiarize yourself with that information. And then also I want to thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions about anything that I have discussed here, please feel free to email me and I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.